product that was supposed to be good. Like it was supposed to be on paper, everything was good. And I had a problem that I had like an issue where I didn't want to actually put that money down. It was really scary for me to, write a check pretty much for $1,500 and, $500 here and $500 there. And it just added up and it was just very scary. Hey, what's up, soldiers? Yaniv here. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and how I first started on Amazon and, the different things that I had to look for when I was looking for a product and exactly what my, first FBA product looked like and, how it kind of all panned out in the process. So again, like most of you guys know, I did start off doing Amazon FBA. I kind of invested a lot of money at first, something that I wouldn't recommend everyone do, but it's something that I did and it actually did turn out well. And I'll show you guys also the numbers behind, how much money I did make in my first month. Some of you guys on the channel probably do know how much that is, but I'll go back into my seller's account on my first month and show you guys. But pretty much today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about what to look for in your Amazon FBA product and what I looked for when I was first starting off and kind of how the numbers look like and what made me pull the trigger. So breaking down my first Amazon FBA product, that's pretty much what this video is going to be about. So as you can see on my screen here, when I first was starting off, FBA and kind of when I heard about it and did some exploration and some research in it, I realized that there are a lot of expenses that you have to start off with before you even have a product in Amazon warehouses, before you can even actually, research a product. So there's stuff like Jungle Scout Chrome extension. So there's two things. Jungle Scout is a kind of a software, I'm sure a lot of you guys know. It helps you guys do product research. So Jungle Scout has two things. It's the web app and the Chrome extension. When I heard about that, I was a little bit confused about what that meant, but pretty much the web app is used to find products and the Jungle Scout Chrome extension is used to see how much each product is kind of making. So the Chrome extension, there's two versions, the Pro and the Lite. I chose the Pro. I wouldn't recommend you guys do this. That's kind of a rookie mistake that I did. You could use the Pro. It's a little bit better, but it's not something crazy. So obviously the extension, as you can see here, was $200 that I spent. Also the web app was $40. Jump Send, which is an email sequence kind of automation thing, kind of sends out emails to people who bought your products, kind of asking for reviews or whatnot. Also, pretty good thing to have, but maybe when you're starting off, you don't necessarily need it. It's $29 per month. The keyword inspector, so something I used for my keywords, spent about $30 on that. And I took professional pictures, which when you're first starting off is not necessary. I kind of wish that I didn't do that when I first started, because you can find a lot of the pictures online and it's definitely not something that's mandatory, depending on how your niche is looking. If your niche is super competitive and there's a lot of like good pictures in it and stuff, yeah, you might want to take professional pictures. But for the most part, you can kind of get away with, not using a professional photographer at first. So my big mistake was I had spent $550 almost. This is all in USD prices. So I'm actually in Canada. I live in Canada. So this is, the conversion was even more for me. But it was about $550 before I even, started or before I even found a product. So that's pretty much all the expenses to do without like minus manufacturing and shipping and all that stuff. So $550. Again, you can lower those down by $250 for professional pictures and $100. So you can reduce them by about $350 if you were smart about it, not like I was. So I do regret doing that. But let's get down to it. So now that you do have your product or you have found your product, right? For me, when I found my product, I kind of had a feeling it was going to be good. I wasn't sure, but the numbers when I broke them down kind of looked like this. So as you can see, I had ordered 1,000 units for my first product. A lot of people, say, a lot of these gurus say, right, buy like 300 units and kind of test order it. You could do that. I decided to go full in 100% into it. I was like, if this is going to be, my thing, I'm going to go, 100% into it and see how it goes. And if I failed, then I failed. And the worst thing that was going to happen was I was going to lose my money. I was going to work harder, make some more money, and try again. So that's pretty much what it was, because I had actually spent pretty much all my money in this one product. I had spent $1,000 of my own money that I'd saved up and like almost $2,000 of credit card debt. So it was kind of an all or nothing. But I knew that if anything, I was going to get my money back and I was going to, try again for sure. Amazon was going to be my thing. So I went all into it, and I suggest you guys go all into it. Maybe don't go 1,000 units in, but definitely don't cheap out and go for like 100 units or like 50 units. It's not gonna work. So pretty much kind of breaking down my product, right? My exact product was 89 cents per unit. So I had negotiated this price down. At first, it's kind of hard to negotiate with manufacturers because they don't really know you. but I had negotiated my price down to about 89 cents per unit. That's not including the UPC code, which was about 5 cents for them to sticker it on for me, which is normal. Sometimes they'll add it in the cost, but sometimes it'll cost a little bit. So it's 5 cents to put my UPC code on it. And logo per unit was about 10 cents. I forgot to also mention that, yeah, you're going to have to get UPC codes in this, so you can add another $10 to your total before ordering product. So that's another thing. So let's change that to $5.59 and UPC code, let's just say it was $10. So that's another thing that you guys will have to, definitely do, because you're going to need the UPC code. So the logo was 10 cents, which is also, again, very normal to put on the packaging. Shipping costs. So my shipping cost was about 455 USD, and that's because I had shipped through air. If I had shipped through sea, it would have been a lot cheaper, because my product was actually very small and it fit in like, a shoebox, that typical thing that everyone says you need to look for, which again, you don't need to, but if you can find, it's nice. So I did for shipping cost, it was 455 USD. And, the thing is with that is, if I had decided to ship it by sea, like I said, I would have saved money, but I knew that shipping it by air, it would get there faster, it would get the process going quicker, and I wouldn't have saved that much money. I would have had a bigger headache dealing with freight forwarders and stuff like that, and I just don't like to deal with that stuff. I can get lazy, so I was like, whatever, let's just do air shipping. It'll be easier, it'll get there faster, and I can get this whole process started. And it didn't hurt my margin too much, so I decided air shipping. I do recommend you guys stick with air shipping, just because it's a lot easier, kind of dealing with it and not dealing with freight forwarders and different companies like that. But if your product is heavy and it's really damaging your profit margins, yeah, obviously, do sea shipping, that's for sure. So the shipping cost per unit broke down to about 46 cents, let's say, per unit. So the total cost of manufacturing was $1,495. That's including shipping, or is that including? No, that's not including shipping. No, that is including shipping. That's including shipping. I don't know why I just got confused there. But yeah, it's including shipping. Everything included was about $1,495, again, in US dollars. So the lead time was about 2 weeks for manufacturing, and 10 to 14 days for shipping. So almost a month it takes to actually get your product into the warehouses. Once it goes into the warehouse, there's also going to be like a few days where Amazon needs to process it. So you can expect probably, closer to a month to get your product into the warehouse and actually selling. There are, obviously ways you can't just straight up get it up in the warehouse and start selling, because there are, product launch strategies, which I can actually leave up there. I'll leave a little pop-up that's going to come out and say how to, rank your product to page 1. That's pretty much a step-by-step process of what I do to get my products ranked and kind of for them to stay on the first page. And once you really do get on the first page, that's where you make all your sales. But back to the the topic of this video, my first Amazon FBA product. So the Amazon warehouse, once it does arrive at the warehouse, right, you're going to see that there are some costs. And I hope that most of you guys don't just buy products without looking at the cost. But once there are warehouse costs. So the pick and pack for me started off at $288. And I kind of had a feeling that maybe that was a little too high. So I put in a request for them to recheck the size of my product, which is possible. A lot of people don't know this, but you can actually request Amazon to resize or kind of remeasure the size of your product. And once they do that, they can see that maybe they, realistically, guys, it's just a person, right? A person can make mistakes. They have to measure it. And if they just measure it really quickly, they can, kind of mess up the measurements. And that can hurt you, because imagine, I got it down like 35 cents, right? Imagine 30 cents per unit. If you're selling 1,000 units or 2,000 units a month, that's going to add up. So I wanted to make sure that my product was definitely, measured correctly. So I just put in an order. It took them about 4 or 5 days for them to remeasure it. They remeasured it, and they came back with actually another price. So at first it was $288 per unit, and then after, the pick and pack was $249. And again, if you guys don't know what the pick and pack is, pick and pack fee is, Amazon FBA has 2 fees. It's a pick and pack, which pretty much the fee that they charge you for packaging the product and shipping it out to the customers. And another fee that they charge is the referral fee. The referral fee is a little bit of a bigger fee in this situation. It's pretty much 15% of the product cost. In this case, I was selling the product at $21.96, so the referral fee was 15%. 15%, that was about $3.29, and that was my total FBA costs. So those are pretty much all the costs. That plus the manufacturing, the shipping, is almost every single cost you're going to have. There's also PPC and giveaways and stuff like that, but that's unimportant for this video because those are kind of negligible when you look at the grand scheme of things. So in the end of it, right, my profit per unit was about $14.69, which was, in my mind, like when I was first finding this product, I was like, damn, that's a big profit margin, right? If the demand is there, that's a big profit margin. And I knew that the demand was there because I had, done my product research on, different competitors in that niche. And it had showed me that there was definitely, space for me to come in, and there's definitely space for me to make money in that niche. So the profit margin was about 66.9%. I get a lot of people asking me, what's the profit margins that you would go into? What's a profit margin that's too low, or, something that you should reconsider? So for me, what I always say is don't go into anything with a profit margin of less than 50%. That means that if you have a product that sells for $100, you want to at least make minimum $50 profit. And that's that profit obviously is after all expenses. So, every single expense you can possibly imagine, you want 50% minimum. And I would say that just because there are a lot of things that can come up and can arise when you're, doing Amazon FBA, that you want to just make sure you got them covered, right? You want to make sure everything is covered. So for the last part of this video, I wanted you guys to see my actual business reports for my product. So obviously this is my, seller's account. And this was the first time that I had started, this is my first month with my first product. I can actually show you guys over here. I'll go a little bit further back so you guys can see that actually I wasn't selling before then. And as you can see, I had started my first journey. I think my first sale was on May 30th. May 30th. It was one unit. I think I sold it to a friend of mine in the US to kind of get a review. This one was $27.97, as you can see, but I had eventually like evened it out about $21.96, which is about $22, as you can see here, was the average price of that product. And as you can see, that month I had made $23,000. And if you guys count, like, so it's from May 30th to June 29th. So pretty much 1 month, right? For that 1 month, I had made over $23,000 US dollars. And the thing is, I had also gone out of stock for about almost a week here where I was out of stock. So I probably could have hit $30,000 on my first month of selling on Amazon. And I had sold out of 1,038 units. So that was pretty much my whole inventory was gone, right? And as you can see here, like, what had happened was I had invested in myself. I had invested in my, research and what I knew to be true, and what I knew was like a product that was supposed to be good. Like, it was supposed to be on paper, everything was good. And I had a problem that I had like an issue where I didn't want to actually put that money down. It was really scary for me to, write a check pretty much for $1,500 and, $500 here and $500 there. And it just added up, and it was just very scary to actually like move along with this. And I know maybe some of you guys are in that same issue, in that same like process where you kind of maybe have a product, but you're just scared to put that, money down and put that money forward and actually invest in yourselves. And I feel like that is true, and it is very scary. And I know the feeling, like, trust me, like, I know I've done it, but it has never been more gratifying for me putting that money down, investing in myself, and seeing what happens when you really believe in yourself, when you really choose to back yourself and back what you thought and what you, believed to be true, and actually backing that and seeing that it was all right and it was all worth it. So I just did this to kind of show you guys what I think a good product is, or what I found out a good product was, and kind of my journey with my first product ever on Amazon. And I wanted to show you guys, the people who are looking to start Amazon, that it is possible and that you guys can do it too, as long as you, make sure that you're taking your product research seriously and, you're actually doing your due diligence over everything. You can really make sure, or you can really change, your life forever with a small investment of, like, in the grand scheme of things, $1,500 at the whole, the grand scheme of things. Like, you're not gonna die if you lose this money. Worst comes to worst is you lose this money, which is really hard to do on Amazon. Like I always say, it's really hard to actually lose the money. Worst thing that's gonna happen is you're actually just gonna sell out of like your product within 6 months and just make your money back. That's the worst, right? But if you keep trying and you keep going for something, it's almost impossible to fail. So even if you do fail, you go again, and then eventually you're going to succeed. Like I don't remember who said it, but it's like most people quit right before their greatest success. So that's pretty much what I want to leave you guys with, and I want you guys to see that it is possible. Everything is possible, and I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope that this helped some of you guys out planning your first product and kind of comparing it to what mine was. And I'm sure you guys will have success in the future. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Remember to leave a like, again, comment, share, subscribe, do all that great stuff that does help the channel grow. Got a lot of awesome stuff coming in the future. And I'll see you guys next time.